D. Wood, you keep laughing. I mean, the second day in a row. Why is funny? Why
Man, like,
That is an
John Harbaugh is just tired. He's so tired of talking about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And that's his guy.
Yeah.
But it just shows you, like, he's exhausted by this whole situation. There's some mojo going on down there in, what is it, Owens Mills or whatever it is?
Yeah.
But down in Maryland, there is something going on in that building. Because clearly the coach thinks that the player it should be healthy enough to play. And then watching the Baltimore Ravens offense, he's probably desperate to get his guy back out there. And Lamar's like, I'm not coming back out there until I'm 100% because of the way, my style of play. And oh, by the way, this little thing of that contract that we didn't get worked out. What is the incentive for me to come back and play right now?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what's going on. It's not that complicated. Lamar Jackson doesn't have a contract. He has $200 and something million hanging in the balance, and he's got a bad knee. I don't know that anyone would say, oh, what he needs absolutely to do is get out there and play for his teammates right now. They made this bed. The Ravens and Lamar Jackson made this bed before the season began by going into it in the lame duck fashion in which they currently exist. And this is a predictable, Dan, candidly, a predictable outcome.
I just want to start by making sure everybody's clear on what we're saying. We are not saying that Lamar Jackson is healthy enough to play but refusing to play. I believe that he is injured.
Right.
And that his knee hurts him.
Yes.
And I think D. Wood is correct, that I think he's made the decision that I don't want to play until my knee doesn't hurt. Right. Or maybe the playoffs will change his mind, right? Because they're in the playoffs. They don't need this game to continue their season. They're going to have a game next week regardless. So I think it would be naive to assume that the contract isn't at least part of this, right? Because I think you're probably looking at a player who has in the past been willing to go out there at less than 100%, and right now does not seem to be. And again, I'm not, especially when it comes to injuries, I don't want to put myself in the head of a player because I don't know how his knee feels. Maybe it's worse than we think. But what we know is that the coach is frustrated. I mean, we can see that on his face. We can hear that in his voice. We know that before the injury, Lamar was missing a practice here and there. You know, like it was a little different already this year than it had been in years past. So I think we have complete license to believe that there's something going on between player and team here that is new and is disconcerting.
If it sounded like I was suggesting that he's faking an injury,
No.
there's nothing is further from
people
the
are going to hear things.
I understand.
Right.
No, I'm glad you clarified it.
Yeah.
I'm saying that if his knee hurts, then he is thinking of himself, which at this particular moment, if indeed he is thinking of himself, at this particular moment, he is well within his rights to be doing that because no one else is going to be thinking of him first. And if the coach is frustrated by it, I get that part of it too. It's a frustrating situation. But again, we all knew that this was the direction this would likely head because football players get hurt 100% of the time.
I'm on Lamar's side in this situation because a PCL, a knee injury, especially the way that he hurt his knee, when you drive your knee into the ground, and that's usually a PCL injury, there have been players that haven't been able to come back from certain PCL injuries. I mean, I think Sean Merriman, he tore his PCL, had it fixed, and never really got back to where he was before the injury. So Lamar has to make sure that he feels confident that he can go out there on the football field and protect himself and be able and run the way that he's supposed to run. And when he's tackled, like he's going to get tackled, not re-injure the same injury that he had, because with that mechanism, when you drive your knee into the ground, you know how many times that's going to happen moving forward? Yeah. Every single time he gets tackled. So he needs to make sure that he is confident when he steps on that football field, because confidence in football is like one of the biggest factors in playing at an elite level. You have to have confidence.
It's worth mentioning another byproduct of the likely cancellation of Monday night's game between the Bills and Bengals is that this game is no longer for the division. Assuming Cincinnati and Buffalo do not play, then the Bengals have won the division. Had they lost that game, then this game would have been for the division. So there could have been a lot more at stake in this game than there currently is. And you know what? This is not the time to be thinking about the offseason. But D. Wood, this is going to be a very interesting offseason in Baltimore with Lamar, isn't it? Do they get a long-term deal done? Do they franchise tag their star quarterback? This is going to be a very interesting offseason in Baltimore.
There's going to be a lot of discussions. Again, there's a lot of bad mojo going on right now. There's something going on in Baltimore, and that whole situation bears watching. That's all I can say.
Can I take everyone behind the scenes? And I say this with great love and respect. Dan Graziano, I always say, is the one who always tampers me down. Like, I'll always try and make a big deal about stuff, and Dan always downplays it. When Dan said, something's going on, you're willing to acknowledge that something is going on. That suggests to me that this is like DEFCON 4. That's what I think.
I've heard and seen a lot of coach press conferences.
Yeah.
The last 5 or 6 that John Harbaugh has done, there's something going on.
Listen, we've seen it. You can tell when coaches start, I don't know, when they start doing all of that, there's something big going on.
I'm just coaching the guys that are out here. That was the one that tipped us off last week.
Yeah, the most important guy is not out there. We'll see if he makes it back. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.